Yo, what's up guys? In this video, we're going to be talking about the absolute top 5 BMX bikes for park specificity. A lot of people like to ride park, getting back into the sport, and they don't know which bike is right for them. So I've used my Dougsterbob scoring system to pull the top 5 BMX bikes, and I'm going to talk about them. Number 5 is really going to surprise you, but so is number 1. So let's get right into it. Okay, my name's Douglas, I run Dougsterbob.com, and every single piece of content I make here on the YouTube channel or on the website is designed to help you understand BMX more so that you have a better time getting back into the sport or getting into it for the first time. This video right here is going to help you with that if you're a park specific rider and you want to know which bikes are going to be good for riding park. That way you can buy the bike, take it out of the box, and start shredding skate parks right away. The bike that is in the number 5 spot is actually really surprising because it is the Sunday Park Sweeper. Just kidding, they don't make a park sweeper, it's the Sunday Street Sweeper, but it scored so high in park that it made it to number 5 on the list. Why would this bike be number 5 on the list? Well, it scored a 7.44 in park, which is even higher than the 6 that it scored in street. Because of some certain things that make this bike a park specific bike, it was able to round up that 7.44 park score and throw it into number 5. Speaking of 5, there are 5 things that you need to know about the Sunday Street Sweeper. 1, everything's full chromoly on this bike. It's got full chromoly frame, forks, and bars, which are imperative for mid-level riders because these parts are going to withstand as you're riding technical park and as you're doing those crashes that happen in the park. You want to make sure your parts hold up, and the Street Sweeper has those chromoly parts that will do so. Number 2 is it's actually a quite responsive bike. The geometry on this bike, the offset of the forks, everything comes together to make it a pretty responsive machine. It has certain specs that shorten the wheelbase, which makes the bike very responsive and very snappy, which is important for a lot of park specific riders. Number 3, it has an interesting pink and purple color option. In the specific Sunday Street Sweeper review, I talked a little bit more in depth about this bike as to why some kids might avoid it, but why some people might go ahead and embrace it and make that choice to go ahead and buy this bike. I think it's bold of Sunday to put out the Street Sweeper with only this one really exotic pink and purple color option and not have a secondary option for people to choose from. But they did it, and some people love it, some people hate it. And number 4 could be a contributing factor as to why it didn't score so high in street. It only has one drive side hub guard. So it's like, I don't know, that's just odd to me. Why would you only have one drive side hub guard? It just doesn't make any sense. But oh well, you know, you don't really need hub guards if you're going to be riding park and you're not going to be doing any grinds. You do want some hub guards if you're riding street, but that's okay, we're talking about park-specific bikes. And number 5, the frame on this bike is actually the aftermarket Sunday Street Sweeper frame. Aftermarket frames get a lot more love and just attention to detail as full chromoly stock frames. So getting this bike with the aftermarket frame means that it's going to last a lot longer as you progress. The bike is pretty expensive at $849. This is very closely priced to the Kink Williams, which was number 1 for street specificity. This $850 bike, like I said, has full chromoly and an aftermarket frame. So it's worth the price. Another really cool thing about this bike is that it only weighs 24.97 pounds, making it a pretty light bike. Park riders enjoy having a light bike because it makes it easier to maneuver, easier to kick around tail whips, bike flips, back flips, things like that. Having a lighter bike when you're riding park is very important. Who is the Sunday Street Sweeper for? Well, it dominates in the park section, but it does score fairly decent in dirt and in street. So I would say this is for an all-around rider who likes to ride a little bit of street, a little bit of park, a little bit of dirt, and maybe spends a majority of their time at the skate park, but still rides those other things. They have to have a pretty decent budget to afford this $850 price tag, and they're pretty committed to BMX as this is a high quality bike and should be only bought from pretty serious riders. Well, because of the low weight and the responsive geometry, this is a very solid choice for park riders, but let's go ahead and talk about number 4, which is the We the People Reason. The We the People Reason is a solid bike, and it is shown up on pretty much any top list review video that I do. This bike is all around a very solid bike, and it scored a 7.69 in park, which is higher than the Street Sweeper. So we're no stranger to the Reason. Let's talk about the 5 things that you need to know about this bike. Number one, this is a pretty responsive bike. It has a 20.75 inch top tube and a 12.75 inch chainstay with a 76-degree head tube angle. All of these specs put together bring the front wheels closer, making it super responsive, super snappy. This is going to be for a technical rider who likes to ride technical park because this geometry is so responsive. Number two, the Reason comes in 3 different color options. 2 of these color options are the exact same as they were in 2021, but for 2022 they added a really sick purple color. Number 3, this bike has a free coaster. The free coaster allows you to fakie backwards without having to pedal backwards. In the park scene, most people are going to choose a cassette over a free coaster, but having this free coaster can unlock certain tricks. If you look at the way that Pat Casey rides, his park style is way different than any other rider. So if you like that kind of technical, creative aspect of it, the free coaster on the Reason is going to be very beneficial to your riding. Number 4, the Reason comes with some pegs and some hub guards. Having pegs and hub guards on your bike allows you to unlock those peg tricks on the lip. I like to do lucky stalls. I like to do double peg slides on the coping. Without pegs and hub guards, you're a little bit limited to what tricks you can do. So this bike coming with the pegs and hub guards unlocks some other park tricks for you. Number 5, this is not actually like a really high quality bike. I mean, it's a mid-level quality and it's one of my favorites, but it's not the highest quality. It only scored a 6.9 in the quality score. When we look at the price of the Reason, it's going to be a lot cheaper than the Sunday Street Sweeper. This bike only costs $685, which again, this is because this isn't the highest quality. The quality is not the same as the Street Sweeper. It's only a 6.9 quality score, so it's going to be a little bit cheaper. And the weight is 27.2 pounds. Again, this is heavier than the Street Sweeper, but it comes with those 2 pegs, 4 hub guards, and a sprocket with a bash guard. So that is the weight with those things. Assuming you took all of those things off, you're going to get a much lighter bike that would probably be closer to the 25.5 pound area. Who is the Reason for? The We the People Reason is going to be for someone who likes to ride street and park. This bike scored higher in street, scored pretty high in park, but it's higher in street. And this is a responsive bike. Now it has the bells and whistles designed to make it a more street specific bike, but with the free coaster and the technical geometry, you can mix some things up and have a really fun time at the skate park on this bike. The price tag is a little bit lower than a lot of these other bikes, so this would be for someone who has a pretty tight budget. They still want a solid bike for the money they spend. The value of the Reason is incredible. Now, because of the 2 pegs that unlock certain technical lip tricks when you're riding the skate park and the responsive geometry, this bike deserves spot number 4. Number 3 is a bike that scores higher in park, but it does not score anywhere near the quality. This is the 2022 Sunday Forecaster. This is Macca Grosset's signature BMX bike. Park specific, it has a gyro, it has everything that you need to have a park specific bike, but the quality just is not there. This bike scored a 7.95 in park and only a 4.8 in quality. Like I said, this is not the best quality bike, but for park riding, it scores pretty high up there. Let's talk about 5 things that you need to know about this bike. Number 1 is the technical geometry of the frame. It has a 75.5 degree head tube angle, which makes the front end steeper and more responsive. It has a 7.5 inch standover height, which drops the height of your seat, making it really easy to kick out tail whips and just gives the bike an overall lower feel. It comes in a 20.5 inch top tube and a 12.7 to 13 inch chainstay. Overall, this bike's really compact, the wheelbase is short, and this is a technical park machine. Number 2, the frame on this bike is full chromoly, but pretty much anything else is not. It has single wall rims, so while the frame, the most important part, is full chromoly and will withstand certain tricks and spins, the rest of the parts will break over time. Number 3, this bike has a gyro brake system. This is the first bike on our list to come with a gyro brake system. And what that does is that allows you to spin the bars 6 million times before the cables tangle up. Well, the cables actually never tangle up, and you can just keep spinning those bars as long as you would like. This is especially important for people who want to do tail whips and bar spins multiple times throughout a run or multiple times throughout one jump. You don't want to have your brake cable tangle up, and most people riding technical park still opt in to ride brakes even though they're a little bit heavier because the brakes can help with different tricks. Number 4, it has one color option. It's a green and black color option. It looks pretty solid, but I love when companies offer multiple color options for people to choose from. Sadly, Sunday did not do it for this bike. Number 5, this is a 100% differently than the other Sunday Forecaster bikes. And actually, the way that Sunday did it this year in 2022 was that each bike was a signature rider's specs. And so like Maka's signature bike came as park specific. Aaron Ross's signature bike came with certain geometries and specs that Aaron Ross would ride. So this bike is very unique to any other Sunday Forecaster, but also very unique to pretty much any of Sunday's line. And I know earlier I said, oh, it's a little bit expensive and a little bit low quality. This bike is $619. To put that into perspective, you could get the kink switch, 4 pegs, 4 hub guards, full chromoly frame forks and bars, double wall rims for $600. This bike is more expensive, has only a full chromoly frame, everything else is high tensile steel. So this is a big price tag and the value score on this bike is not so good. But who is it for? Well, this bike would be for somebody who wants a park specific bike. They really, really value a gyro and they want something that looks park specific. The more compact frame, the gyro, everything about this bike just screams park specific. Now, it can't be for somebody who's really shopping based on value because this bike does not hit the mark. It's a 20.5 inch top tube, so the rider who buys this would have to be tall enough to ride a 20.5 inch top tube. How much do you think this bike weighs? Well, the Sunday Forecaster Park Edition weighs 26.38 pounds. This is with the gyro system, but it's not with any pegs or any hub guards. So you could consider this a fairly heavy bike. Generally, people want to shoot for under 25 pounds when they're searching for a park specific bike. Because of the gyro and the incredibly technical frame, this bike deserves spot number 3, even though the quality is a little bit slacking. But number 2, the quality is absolutely not slacking. This is one of the best bikes in the world, the We the People Envy. That's right, this bike scored high enough in park to get spot number 2. And is it really a park specific bike? Well, we'll talk about that right now. The Envy scored a 9.23 in park. This is due to some different things that I'll talk about when I'm telling you the 5 things that you need to know about it, but not very many bikes score this high. Very, very few, actually. Only 2, 2 scored this high. And that's it. We had no perfect 10s in the park specific section. And it's a little bit disappointing, but the Envy was the next best thing to number 1. And it definitely deserves a spot, despite not having a gyro or anything like that. The 5 things that you need to know about the We the People Envy is that this bike is fully aftermarket. So we talked about a low quality bike earlier in number 3. This is the complete opposite. Every single part on the We the People Envy is handcrafted to be purchased separately and not sold as a complete bike. What We the People did is they grabbed all of these incredible parts, bundled it together into a complete bike, knocked down a discount to make it somewhat affordable, and put this bike together as the Envy Complete. This is a great bike with incredible quality. Another cool thing about this is number 2, it comes in 20.5 or 21 inch top tube sizes. A lot of these really high quality bikes come only in like a 21 or a 20.75, leaving those smaller riders out of it. Like they're not able to get a really high quality bike because they're too small. So their only options are to get a low quality bike or to get something that is too big for them, which will hinder their progress. I really admire that We the People made this bike in 2 different options. Number 3 is new for 2022, and that is that the We the People Envy comes in a carbonic version. This is technically a new model and not necessarily just a color option of the Envy, but the biggest difference is that it has the Eclat carbonic rims, the carbon fiber rims that I think are actually tubeless. So this is just a really exciting thing for the We the People Envy to have this option out there. Now, at the time of making this video, not all the information's out. We don't know the price. We don't know a lot of different things about it, but it's in the works and it's been somewhat announced. So I'm really excited about that. And that could change things up a lot for the park score. That could get this bike a perfect park score. I don't know. We'll have to see. Number 4 is that this bike comes with 4 hub guards. Now, the hub guards don't really do you anything in park riding unless you add a couple of pegs. And then you get the utility for lip tricks with your pegs like feeble stalls, double peg stalls, lucky stalls, double peg grinds, things like that. But this does have the hub guards so that all you need to do is buy the pegs separately, throw it on the bike, and then you can start working on those technical tricks. Number 5, this bike is actually somewhat average geometry. So compared to the other bikes that have a really technical and responsive geometry, the Envy is a little bit more average that can give the bike a more stable feel, as opposed to the really technical responsive feeling bikes. Okay, but what does a bike with all of this quality actually cost? And well, you could probably get a somewhat decent used car for the price of this bike. It costs about $1,300. Now keep in mind, this bike is fully aftermarket, everything's hand selected, and only the best of the best made it on the bike. So that does justify this really high price tag. However, not many people have that kind of budget for a bike. Weight was one of the most exciting things here because this bike only weighs 24.38 pounds. It's just going to make things so much easier. It's going to make 720s, double bar spins, double tail whips, backflips. It's going to make these tricks easier because this bike is lighter and therefore it doesn't require the same amount of effort to put into it to get a trick out of it. I'm really excited about this low weight because this is the lowest weighing bike on the list. The We the People Envy is for someone who's more serious about BMX and they don't want a bike that might break on them later on. They want to go ahead, take a fat stack of cash, invest it in a bike that they know is going to last with them for a long time. And the Envy comes in those two different size options, so it's not limited to a really tall guy or a really small guy. You can be pretty much any size to make the 20.5 or the 21 inch work. So the size doesn't really come into play. Again, this bike is more park specific, but it's great for street and also dirt. So if you're more of a well-rounded rider who rides a lot of park, this is the perfect choice for you. Because of this low weight, two size options, and incredibly high quality, this bike deserves spot number 2. But let me tell you, it was a big battle. I could not decide if it should be number 1 or number 2, and ultimately we gave it to number 1, which is the We the People Versus. This is the highest quality park specific bike. I like to look at it as the Sunday Forecaster Park on steroids. The We the People Versus scored the same in park as the We the People Envy, but it looks more park. It has more of a parky feel. So anyway, it scored a 9.23 in park. Not a perfect 10, but that's a really, really good score. All right, there are 5 things that you need to know about the We the People Versus. The first thing is the responsive geometry. This bike comes in a weird 20.6 inch top tube. It has a very responsive chainstay, a steep head tube angle, and a low standover. All of these things give this bike that compact feel that you would get from the Sunday Forecaster Park, make it really responsive, really snappy. Number 2, this bike comes with the gyro system. Again, just like the Forecaster Park, this is going to allow you to do lots of bar spins without having any brakes tangle up. You can still ride brakes, pull the brakes when you're in the air to dip that front end, but you don't have to worry about the brakes tangling up. Gyros are a big thing. Most people buy a bike and throw a gyro on there anyway because they're not comfortable to ride brakeless, but they still want to be able to spin the bars. This bike is full chromoly, but it's not aftermarket chromoly, just like the We the People Envy. So the full chromoly is still good, just not great. The quality scores, if you look at the Dougsterbob score sheet, are pretty different from the Versus to the Envy. But look, don't worry. The Envy still scored really high. Like, it's a high quality bike and it's good. It's just not anywhere near the Envy. Not many bikes are. Now, number 4, this bike comes with 4 hub guards and 2 pegs. This opens up the thing for the technical lip tricks, the peg stalls, the peg grinds, and not many bikes have that. And I think this was the biggest deciding factor as to putting the Versus at spot number 1. These pegs do open up your ability to do certain park tricks and therefore makes it a better park specific bike. Okay, number 5 circles back to the weird top tube angle. It's a 20.65 inch top tube angle, which is very odd. Most complete bikes come in 20.00, 20.25, 20.5, 20.75, or 21. And the Versus coming in at 20.65 is just weird because it gives it a little bit of a taller feeling than a 20.5 would, but it's not anywhere near that 21. And this is to keep the bike compact and snappy so that you can do those technical tricks on it. And so it just feels really responsive. The price is almost half of the We the People Envy. It costs about $758, making it a fairly affordable bike with good quality and an amazing park-specific score. It weighs a little bit more than I would like to see. It weighs 26.74 pounds. Again, this weight is with that gyro, the 4 hub guards, and the 2 pegs. So taking all of those things off make it a lighter bike, but those things add to the bike's park score and add to the park's utility. So I wouldn't recommend taking those things off. I'd recommend looking at different areas that you can make upgrades to lighten that weight, because as a park specific bike, almost 27 pounds is pretty heavy. This bike is for the park specific rider who loves to ride park no matter what. They don't really dabble in street, they don't really dabble in dirt, they just ride park, and they want a bike that's great for riding park without spending a ton of money. This high quality ensures that the bike will last somebody for years as they progress and as they start to learn new park tricks. This is a great bike for anyone looking to get better at riding park and plans to spend most of their time in the skate park. Well, because of the responsive geometry, the high quality, the pegs, and the gyro, this bike deserves spot number 1 for the most park-specific bike. This is a great bike for anyone looking to ride a lot of park. Now, if you want to look at the Dougsterbob score sheet that I use to rank over 80 different bikes, this is how all of these scores are developed. You can compare these bikes side to side. The link to download that is in the description. All you need to do is put in your email address and I'll send you that link. You'll get updates every time that I update it. And it's super helpful. You can check the best quality bike, the most expensive bike, the lightest bike, the best park bike, street bike, dirt bike, all those things. Makes your life so easy. If you just want me to recommend a bike for you, I can do that too. I have a free bike recommendation link also in the description. Fill it out, and I will recommend 3 bikes to you that are perfect, absolutely perfect. Give me some time. It takes me a little bit to do these, but it's completely free. Now, let me know in the comments, do you agree with this list? Would you rearrange the order? Did I miss a bike? Let me know. I'm really curious to hear from you. I've been giving Danscomp my money since I started riding BMX, and now I have the opportunity to get you a gift card so that you can buy your own bike parts and upgrade your bike, freshen up your bike. I'm partnering with my friends at Danscomp to give you a $100 gift card to use to buy whatever you need for your bike. It's super simple. All you need to do is click the link in the description. It'll walk you through what you need to do to enter, and we're gonna pick 4 winners per year. So the chances are pretty heavily in your favor. All you need to do, click that link, go check it out. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. But look, your bike is literally begging you to do this. That squeaky chain, like, get that fixed, man. Enter to win this gift card, and good luck.